many years ago, when as a young lawyer, like many other lawyers doing the Sharia court work, a bit helpless. We did not know where to look for. We had no resources. We only had judgments that were photocopied from our seniors. The only textbooks we had were from overseas, and not a single Singapore case would have been cited in those textbooks. So the idea to write a book was more the need to fill that huge gap. And what happened was that when the SSAR was written in 2011, 2012, when it was first published, I felt that was a brilliant opportunity because finally we have materials. Then we could write a book. But I spoke with quite a number of lawyers and everybody had the same answer. It's a very good idea. It is a need that we have to fill, but we don't have the time. In about 2016, I wrote a proposal to Academy Publishing and suggesting that a book be written. And I gave the outline, and I have to hold up my hand that it was very difficult for me to write that book on my own, to balance practice with the research and the writing. Before I started, Funan was still the old Funan. Halfway through, Funan was already redeveloped and built, and yet the book was still not published yet. At the end of 2019, I had a call from Academy Publishing and said that, look, we have a proposal that seems very similar to yours. Someone wants to write a book. And then I discovered, they are young writers from the Legal Aid Bureau. And before you know it, they set us up and here we are today.
I just wanted to echo what you were saying about how hard it was as a young lawyer to start with doing Sharia court work. I started legal aid in 2016. And then I was told, okay, you're going to do Sharia court work. And I was like, what does that even mean? Because that's not something you learn in law school, right? Or even like the prep course for our bar exams. I relied a lot on the wisdom of my seniors, Mr. Sheikh Mustafa, Mr. Sunari Kateni. And a lot of it is just me running into their rooms, asking them, hey, this one then how? What does this mean? Doing a lot of research on our own. And so what we started to do in legal aid was to collect the little pieces of wisdom into sort of little guidelines, some helpful points that we would share with others in the bureau. And then from there, actually, Istyana and I started talking about what we put this together in like a sort of textbook or a practice handbook for other lawyers like us who was struggling as young lawyers to start in this field, right?
Actually, when I first started working in R&D, I was helping my boss, who was an appeal board member, do research on the court decisions. And I struggled to look for cases, for materials that we could rely on. Coming to legal aid, I think it was a bit of serendipity because Maryam had already done a lot of the bulk of the work, and she had collated these cases and precedents, and we thought that it would be useful for future Sharia court practitioners coming out to really record the work that we've done, so that it doesn't go to waste. We came out with this idea, okay, let's just do an internal guidebook. But then we were thinking, how about we just publish it? We somehow got linked up with Mr. Nizam, and he supplied us with all these cases and materials. He helped to sort of guide us and provide the historical context, the background. That's how it came about. It's not my first time writing a book, so I know that this is something that can be done. It's a question of how much you want it, and also it's a collective endeavor, so you need to marshal together all the resources and the expertise and have the discipline to sit down a few hours a day, just do a bit of writing, and eventually it will get done. What probably really helped was the fact that we were all in COVID hibernation. For me, it's really a collective endeavor because Ahmad Nizam provided us with the background materials, the resources. He linked us up with legal luminaries like Senior Counsel Muhammad Faisal, who helped to provide us with some useful inputs on analysis, on how to write better, and important stakeholders like Sharia Court, who gave a lot of useful feedback on our draft chapters. So I thought that was really helpful that we work together as a sort of a community to build upon our knowledge and our skills, to inspire critical analysis.
Yeah, it's quite interesting that you say we had the support of a community, because actually as you were sharing that, it really felt like, like we had a whole kampong actually helping us out. Each chapter we had to rely on different experts, and it's really like a collection of all the knowledge from our little kampong of people doing Sharia court work. Yeah, Mr. Nizam, how does it feel to finally have this book after so many years of thinking about it?
It's a mixture of elation and relief, actually. Okay, elation, of course, for obvious reasons. It's kind of a dream come true to have this book, and the relief is that, oh my, after so many years of collecting materials for my personal library, I'm actually now seeing it in a book form. And I like the way Isti kept using the word historical background with me. It made me feel so old. For me, it was a period of rediscovery as well, because you see, I started off being involved with Law Society Council work at a very young age. In 1998, as a very young lawyer, I was one of the 4 who represented the Law Society at the 1998 Parliamentary Select Committee hearing on the amendments to AMLA. That was a very memorable process. The 1998 amendments was such a landmark, because prior to that, we only had the 1966 or then 1968 AMLA, and there were no forms, no procedures to follow besides something that was in the Muslim marriage and divorce rules that were hardly practiced on the ground. What led to the 1998 amendments was that there were a group of lawyers just like today. So for me, it was a bit deja vu. We had the backing of so many young lawyers who actually sacrificed many Saturdays to do research, and we came out with papers and we submitted them to the ministry. Then it was the MCDS. One thing led to another. They invited us to draw up the forms from scratch, So all the pleadings that you see now, they originated from the 1998 team. And today, we have moved so far ahead. So for me, when I look back, right, how far we've gone from those dark ages, pre-1998 to today, that's why I said the mixture of elation and relief. And I just want to echo what Isti and Maryam said just now. It is very much a kampung effort. I mean, besides the names that you mentioned, we also had Ustaz Irwan Hadi, who was fantastic in the inheritance chapter. For those who know his background, he is an expert in this field. And not only that, he also went beyond that chapter, and he also helped to edit so many other chapters, using his Muslim law background. So it was really a kampung effort, as you put it.
The book is really meant to provide students, practitioners with a starting point, with an elaboration of the cases, analysis of the cases that are already out there, so that when you read cases, you might find it hard to read a case and understand it by itself. So this book is meant to be like a guide. So it summarizes the cases, it provides you with some analysis, and in the interplay between the civil courts and the Sharia courts, what a litigant goes through when he navigates the legal process.
Thanks, Isti, and thanks, Mr. Nizam. So I guess just to close everything, we would say enjoy the book and look forward to our second edition, I guess, which may take another 2 or 3 years. Who knows?
Hopefully there's no more COVID.
I don't know. We might need COVID to get into the work. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.